This is a installation instruction for the fiber optic circuit board, which is right here. Now right now it's sitting on a table. To make it easier, I've made this intermediate board with some of the connections already made for you. And that's mounted on a plate. Okay? The reason I made this intermediate board, we'll call it a motherboard, is that the fiber optic it's very expensive and it's very fragile, and it requires the use of very, very small screws to mount it. So that would be difficult. So by making a mounting plate, I've made it much easier. So all you have to do is screw the mounting plate into the back of the cabinet. Okay. So now let's take a look at where it's going to go. Here's the back of the MSI machine. And I think you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 holes there. Now the holes initially are too small. They were made for mounting the board directly, but since we're going to use a mounting plate, those holes had to be drilled out. And I'll provide you with a drill. So here's a drill. You can see the drill there. So these holes have already been drilled out. All right. That's a close-up look of it. Now, to the right, it's not very obvious, but right here, at the top of this bracket, you have 2 connectors. Those connectors are the fiber optic connectors. Now let's see. I think you can see it. Here's the fiber optic devices. I've already taken the connectors off the fiber optic part, and I've mounted it. I've mounted both of them right there. So they were already installed, and they're tight, and they're in good position. So now we're going to go around, excuse me, now we're going to mount the fiber optic to the opposite side of this, to the opposite side, okay? And to do that, we need this tool. And we need 4 screws. I'll put the screws on top so you can see them better. I think. There's 1 screw right here. Here's the second screw. Oh. Here's the 3rd screw. All right. There. So there's your screws. Now this is a little awkward. Let's see. Because this, I have the heat station kind of in the way. So I'm going to move the heat station over here because I have to be, let's see, I have to be able to put the screws in here and at the same time hold the heat station, hold the fiber optic board on the backside. So here I am taking the board very carefully. I'll take one of these screws, taking a screw. Once I get the first one in, the other three are easier. So let's try to line it up here. This is really it's not easy trying to do it by yourself. Here's one screw position. Is that right? Okay, I'll keep that one loose. I'll grab another screw. That one's in. Do this. That one. There. So now I'm going to have to change the position of the camera. Because all the final connections will be on the other side. So I'm going to move the heat station again so I have more room. So I'm going to move the camera around. To right here. And as you can see, there's the heat, there's the fiber optic board mounted. I had some tape on here. What I'd like to do, let's see. All right. Okay, first of all, I've given you the instructions sheet showing the connections, so keep that handy. Okay, on the right side you have your 12-volt power supply. Your power is a red and a white wire. I already put the connector on it, so that's going to go there. All right. The next is this is your output. It's a purple and orange wire. On your machine, you'll probably find that you already have those wires. Take them off the connector. Which connector am I talking about? I'm talking about this big one right here. It has 6 positions. So let's look at that. And for that, to do that, I had to get a small screwdriver, very small. All right, so take your purple and orange wires and you twist them a little bit. Okay, and I'll pull the connector off because it's easier to work on it. The orange wire is the first one that goes on. Now I have to open up those. I have to open them up. Okay, I opened them up a little bit. The screw, I opened the screw position. Put the orange wire in, and we'll tighten it. Okay? There. All right, and then we take the purple wire and do the same thing. Always pull on them. Pull. Make sure they're tight. All right. Now we have the two cables here. You see them? They're just kind of hanging loose. That's the way they come. One is marked 1, one is marked 2. Doesn't matter, as long as you remember. Then you go over here and you're going to try to put them on. I have to move the camera again because you can't see what I'm doing. This is difficult, is what I'm trying to say. Because there's not much room in here to do this. The one on the right is more difficult. They're spring loaded. And that one's in, I think. And I'll take the second one now. And I'll put that one on. It's very awkward. Fortunately, you only have to do this once. If you have small hands, which I don't have, it's easier. I think I got it. No, I don't have it. There, that one's on. There. Okay, they're both in now. Okay. And then the last thing, again, you have to look at the instruction manual, but this is your Rs232 connection. And you already have the wires coming up from the connector. The connector is down below. It's down here. And so those wires are already color-coded. Black, red, green. So that plugs in. So there you go. That's it. Now, obviously, we have a fan here. So take some tape and tape the fiber optic cable to the side of the cabinet so it doesn't get so they don't get sucked into the fan, so someone doesn't accidentally touch them. And that's it. That's the installation. Again, you have the 3 connections to make. You have your 12 volts, you have your output connection. That's the 0 to 10 volt output to the temperature controller on the front of the unit. And then you have your Rs232. And I'll give you some cable ties. You see these? You should tie everything to the holes in the fan. You have mounting holes on the fan. You can use that to tie down the wire, at least the orange wire. But I would, as far as the fiber optic, I would use some tape. So that's it. So I'm going to conclude this and then make a CD.